So the Indiana Pacers just whooped the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 1 of their playoff series, and in this video, I'm going to analyze the game and why the Bucks lost. Granted, the Bucks have no Damian Lillard, so keep that in mind for the rest of this video. Starting in the first quarter, it was obvious how large the gap in talent between the two teams was. Obviously, Giannis is the best player on the floor, but the next 4 or 5 best players in the game were all Pacers players. The next best Buck to start this game was Ryan Rollins, and no disrespect to him of course, but that's not a co-star caliber player on a team intending to contend. Giannis was literally a one-man army out there. After Ryan Rollins lay to start the game, Giannis scored the next 6 points for the team straight. And when I tell you they were hacking him, they were hacking him. I'll admit I wasn't around for Shaq's prime, but I imagine it looked a little bit something like this. On any drive where Giannis wasn't scoring, he was getting fouled and shooting free throws. So on paper, it kind of looks like the Pacers didn't have an answer for him, but that kind of was their answer, because Giannis shot around 50% on his free throws. And I can't confirm this mathematically, but I think making 1 free throw is better for the Pacers than Giannis making 2 points with a field goal. The entire time Giannis was on the floor, nobody else on the Bucks could really do anything that wasn't Giannis impacted. In fact, the only time the rest of the Bucks started stepping up was when Giannis finally subbed out. And the looks weren't exactly perfect, but they finally realized they can't rely on Giannis to set them up anymore. And they were forced to make stuff happen for themselves. And don't make me mention defense, because the Bucks defense was absolutely horrid this game. In the first quarter alone, the Pacers scored 33 points, which is a very abnormally high number for a playoff game. But it was good to see that the run and gun Pacers offense still works in a playoff atmosphere. I think the biggest struggle that the Bucks had was the rim protection. A game like this really highlights the impact having a full team of shooters can have, because Miles Turner as a stretch 5 arguably changed the whole dynamic of this basketball game. Spanning out from just the first quarter, pretty much the entire game, Brook Lopez was a non-factor. Actually, let me rephrase. Brook Lopez was absolutely unplayable in this basketball game. In my opinion, Bobby Portis should have played a lot more in that first half over Brook Lopez, because Brook Lopez could not defend a thing. In a pick and pop, Miles Turner was almost exclusively getting wide open looks over and over again, either because of a poor rotation from Brook or just a lack of foot speed. I don't want to say lack of effort, but it kind of looked like that as well. Swear to God, there was a point in this game where 6'4" Andrew Nembhard, who by the way had a great game, bodied Brook Lopez and moved his 7-foot self out of the way and then finished at the rim. He genuinely could not guard a thing, and it's not just a product of being brought out on the perimeter, because his rim protection was just as poor. Anytime the Pacers ran at the rim, it just worked out well for them. Despite having 2 really good shot blockers on this team, the rim was just free eats for the Pacers all night. And in a way, you want to chalk this game up to terrible defense by the Bucks, but the offense didn't really get any better throughout the night. In the second quarter, the Bucks only scored 18 points as a collective. Kyle Kuzma, the big trade deadline acquisition for the Bucks that was supposed to change everything that they traded Milwaukee legend Chris Middleton for, ended the first half with a stat sheet of 5 donuts. That means 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 blocks, and 0 steals. And a crisp 0 for 3 shooting with 2 fouls to go along with that. He seriously added nothing for this team in the first half. And looking over at the Pacers side of the basketball for this first half, they were a well-oiled machine. On defense, the rotations were quick and decisive. They knew what the plan was to quote-unquote stop Giannis, and they did it well. But even more impressive was their offense. The Pacers ended that first half with 67 points, which was really spearheaded by Andrew Nembhard, who I've always wished got a bigger offensive load throughout the season. And I'm a little surprised that it happened now come playoff time, but I can't complain either way. His slashing was incredible. Again, really playing Brook Lopez pretty much off the floor. Haliburton also, while not having the best shooting night, still kept up to quota with his playmaking, ending the first half with 7 assists and only 1 turnover. Miles Turner did a phenomenal job on capitalizing what looks he got. I don't mean to dogpile, but specifically the looks that Brook Lopez was giving him. I'm not sure why the Bucks kept dropping back so far on these pick and rolls. It was honestly so frustrating to watch, and I'm not a Bucks fan. You can see my Tyrese Haliburton jersey back there. I was not rooting for the Bucks in this game. It was so frustrating to watch them do drop coverage every single pick and roll. This is one of the big reasons I'm not a fan of Doc Rivers. He's just kind of an idiot sometimes, because there's proof right in front of you. Drop coverage isn't working. Brook Lopez is getting fried. Stop it, cut it out. But no, he continued to let it happen all game. It was terrible. The first half was just a big win by committee type of half for the Pacers. Everyone did their job great. And going into the third quarter, nothing really changed. Brook Lopez literally got played off the court in this quarter. I'm not lying and saying he should have got played off the court. He literally got subbed out and didn't check in for the rest of the game. Like in that third quarter, he didn't play the last 7 minutes. And I feel like such an ass bringing it up over and over again. But this was when the Bucks started to make something good happen. Now, let me get it out the way. I'm not a Brook Lopez hater by any means. I think he's kind of awesome. He's a really good shot blocker. Just not this game. Don't get me wrong, there are still some ugly points for the Bucks, but this was a point where the Bucks went on a 16-5 run. Oddly enough, with Giannis off the floor for a lot of it too. AJ Green had a nice third quarter hitting 3 threes, and Bobby Portis played pretty solid defense. It felt like the Bucks role players kind of realized, hey, this is maybe the playoffs. We should probably play real defense now. The third quarter was actually a win for the Bucks, outscoring the Pacers 33-26, softening the lead to only 17 points. Come fourth quarter, it was pretty obvious the damage was already done. Giannis kept rolling, and there were some pretty possessions by the Bucks trying to scape together some semblance of a run. It was just too little too late. There was like 3 Pacers possessions in a row where Pascal Siakam got the mismatch on AJ Green, because for some reason AJ Green had to act like a roamer in the paint, which I can only assume Pascal saw and capitalized on purpose, because while not always scoring, pretty much every time Pascal started to back him down, something good happened. I'm not sure what the defensive scheme here was supposed to be, but it was just really bad. Which sucks, because AJ Green is super beneficial to have have on the floor if used right, because he was pretty much the only shooting threat on the Bucks this entire game. In fact, in this game, he was offensively by far the second best player for the Bucks, because about halfway into the fourth quarter, the Bucks actually started moving, and this was on the back of AJ Green and Gary Trent Jr. And it seemed like deep into the fourth quarter, the Bucks finally found a lineup that worked. And this lineup included a grand total of one starter, that being Giannis. Every other positive contributor to this team came off the bench. They didn't sub in Taurean Prince, they didn't sub in Kyle Kuzma, they didn't sub in Brook Lopez, like I mentioned. It was just a completely different team. Getting down to the wire, Giannis had back-to-back blocks on Nembhard, who quieted down a lot more in the second half. In the fourth quarter specifically, it really just felt like Siakam mismatch hunting the whole time, which obviously there was more, but it felt like a lot of that. But Miles Turner eventually had a really uncomfortable looking step back three with about 2 minutes left to really ice this game over and put the Pacers up 15. I don't know what it is. It's just a big guy stepping back like that. Doesn't look right ever. They got a bit scrappy at the end. Damian Lillard picked up a technical foul in street clothes, as did Siakam. Not really impactful to the game, but I thought it was kind of funny. But by then, the game was over. The final score being 117 Pacers, 98 Bucks, almost a 20-point blowout. The player of the game for the Pacers, in my opinion, was Pascal Siakam. While Nembhard is the guy who really started the bleeding in the first half, Pascal continued playing consistently well the entire game, kind of representative of his entire season. He defended as well as someone can against Giannis, and he picked his battles well offensively. He finished the game with 23, 7, and 2 with a 76 true shooting percent, and he also had solid defense to go along with it. On the Bucks side of the ball, I can really only give player of the game to Giannis. In the box score, it looked like he ball hogged a little because he only had 1 assist, but I promise he wasn't. His team just couldn't hit shots. His best option was to ball hog. He ended the game with 36 points and 12 rebounds. Fortunately, he shot 8 for 15 from the free throw line, so he did leave some points there, but you win some, you lose some. Stinker of the game award goes to Kyle Kuzma. I know I dogged on Brook Lopez all video for literally getting played off the floor defensively, but Kyle Kuzma was god-awful this game. He's getting paid $24 million a year to put up prime Tony Snell numbers in the playoffs. He wasn't aggressive, he wasn't hitting his shots, his defense was Kyle Kuzma defense. It was all around a bad game. And as far as star players having bad shooting nights goes, this was the best case scenario for Halliburton. When the ball was in his hands, it kind of felt like he didn't make a single wrong decision all night. He set his teammates up great, and he used his gravity to his advantage. I can only imagine he'll get more deadly in the series later when he starts hitting his shots. There's news Damian Lillard is coming back either game 2 or game 3, and on paper, this fixes pretty much every problem the Bucks had. There's a secondary shot creator outside Giannis running point guard, and there's finally some more three-point shooting besides AJ Green. By the way, the Bucks ended this game with only 9 made threes, 5 of which came from AJ Green. The rest of the roster made a total of 4 threes. And if you take away Gary Trent's 2 threes, the Bucks only made 2 threes as a team. I can only imagine Rick Carlisle is going to scheme to cut off open looks from AJ Green next game and force the guys around him to start making shots, which if it ends up anything like this game, that won't happen. Damian Lillard will absolutely change the dynamic of this team, like flip it on its head. I think Doc Rivers needs to change some things defensively, fix the Brook Lopez drop coverage problem, stop letting AJ Green become a rim protector, and overall slow the Pacers down. I think this game came down to fast and exciting youth in the Pacers versus the old slower Bucks. Ideally, the Bucks use their experience and 2 superstars to put a dent in the Pacers offense and defense, but after the game I just watched, I'm not sure if that'll work. Still think this series is going to be super close. I think it's going to go to 6 or 7 games. I'm not sure who wins. I want to say Pacers, but I also don't know what this team's going to look like with Damian Lillard on the floor, so I leave that up to you. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win this series? And if you like these type of videos for the playoffs, maybe I'll make some more throughout the playoffs. I hope you subscribe and like the video. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be super cool if you could help out. More importantly, I hope you have a great day.